you basically, I think, can do everything. So,
like, I can't twerk.
We can get you.
Don't ask me to twerk.
I honestly doubt that, but
come to a Monday night class one time. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Nicole Kirkland, and welcome to our 6th episode of Krew Kiki. This is an unfiltered conversation between artists and friends. It is 2020. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of the new year, and I am so excited for our special guest today. She has worked with some of your favorite artists like Neo, Janet Jackson, Chris Brown, and Usher. She is an online sensation known for her viral dance videos, River and I Love You. She is goals as fuck, and I'm so happy she's here. We have Galen Hooks. Oh my God, we have Galen Hooks here, everybody. Oh my God, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for being here.
Anything for you, Nicole.
Anything. All right, tell us a little bit who you are, your Instagram, all the good stuff. Quick, it's like your elevator pitch.
I'm Galen Hooks, and my Instagram is @GalenHooks. Ding, there's the elevator. That was my yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you did an intro. I don't want to bore you.
I know. I mean, I pretty much said all of your major things in like the first 5 seconds. All right, so we have our Krew Brew today. What is it?
Our Krew Brew is a very exciting drink that is called mint tea. So I really only drink water, but I did a job in Amsterdam I was there for maybe 6 months total, and I went to a cafe and I'm like, I'll have some mint tea, and they brought out a glass of a gang of mint leaves just with water in it, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And it was delicious. So basically, we just have bunches of mint leaves with boiled water. I don't want to tilt it because you won't be able to see it, but this is a treat for me.
Yes, it's really good.
And yeah, it's just refreshing and simple and an alternative out there
And
if you're
healthy.
trying to. Yes, healthy. Yeah.
Let's give a nice cheers for today. Cheers. Don't spill any. It's a little hot. You can see the steam, maybe. Yeah. It's so good.
Delicious.
I love it.
It's refreshing.
Are you a big tea person?
Yeah, I mean, when I say I only drink water, like I really only drink water. So tea is the thing that's kind of like, and the only non-caffeinated tea. So this doesn't have caffeine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I do treat myself, it is tea, typically. Yeah.
Nice.
I know. I wish that was my treat. I'm like cookies, a whole
Oh,
cookies.
that's my other advice. Yeah. No, I feel you on that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. All right, let's jump into this. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your career. Like, I know I mentioned some of the huge artists you've worked with. Galen has been in the industry for so long. When did you start, by the way? When was your first job?
My first job was when I was 7. I grew up in LA. It's been a long road. I'm tired.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
7 years old. What was that? You do commercial, video?
I think it was Mrs. Santa Claus, which is what's her name? Angela Lansbury movie. I think that was it. It was a commercial or a movie or something of that sort. But I did all of that kind of range of things. I was on Star Search when I was 7, and our group won the whole thing, and so
Your
I
video
got
was so cute.
Oh my
You
God.
posted it.
I just recently posted a throwback. I don't think many people have seen that video at all. But the crazy thing is that a lot of people were like, "Oh, I remember this," and it's such a weird, just a part of my childhood that it's strange that other people remember it because it's like if you posted a baby picture and they're like, "I remember that."
Yeah.
You're like, how did anybody see this?
Yeah.
So yeah, from that point I started working, like literally since I was 7. This is all that I've done.
You were emancipated, right? So like.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't talked about that in a long time. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
No, it's a very unique thing that if you're out there and you're young and you want to work as an adult in the industry, typically you have to, if you're under 18, you have to have a teacher and parent on set. When I was 15, I had been working with Marguerite Derricks, who's like one of the most prolific choreographers, and been assisting her a lot. And I had the opportunity to be in Austin Powers 3. She did all the Austin Powers movies, but by this time we were at Austin Powers 3. And in order to do it, I got emancipated, which meant that I was emancipated from my parents. I went to the children's court, presented a legal case on why I should be able to operate as an adult, so I could work on Austin Powers without a teacher or guardian on set, and was legally able to work as an adult. Yeah, so it opened up a huge range of opportunities to be able to work on way more jobs, because when you're under 18, you can only work on things where they're willing to. The point is, they have to pay for that teacher to be on set, so it costs production to have somebody that's under 18. So I got emancipated.
Damn. So how old were you when you were on Austin Powers?
15.
15?
Yeah.
Let's like all these like, oh, yes, that is amazing. What
I
a
think
crazy
you were wearing the green
Green,
outfit,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the opening where he's with Britney Spears and they do the little
Yes.
West Side Story-ish thing and we go
Yeah.
in the circle. Yeah.
And they have the fembots. They turn to
Yeah.
fembots, right?
Yeah. Totally.
You need to rewatch
Oh my
that
god.
movie.
Yeah.
No, Austin Powers was it though, growing up.
Oh my
It
gosh,
really
it
was.
was so funny. Yeah. The greatest. Yeah.
So I mean, I mentioned. Oh my god, who do we have here? We said Neo, Janet Jackson. You were like Neo and Usher's like main girl for some of these.
The Neo thing was like very unique because it was for the full album. I was on
Right.
the album cover. I was in like the leaflet that comes in the album and that was like a very unique situation.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of artists where I've had that kind of lead girl role.
Well, what was Good Kisser?
Good Kisser.
Usher. You had
So-
a moment with him where it was like
Yeah.
his face,
Yeah.
and you guys stared deeply into each other's eyes for like I want to say
Yeah.
it felt like 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, the all I'll say about that is that when I'm teaching, I do a lot of teaching now for very, very, very industry specific things, and that's something that I really try. A lot of people want that moment.
Right.
A lot of dancers are like, I want to be that girl that does that thing.
Uh-huh.
And anytime I've had to ask somebody to do that, whether it's in these kind of pro classes where I mock up that scenario or on a job where I'm asking people to do that, it's really difficult for people to deliver something that seems so simple. So if you picture being in that tight of a close-up, if you were
Jesus.
doing the most and like your head would be
Right.
going in and out of frame and it would just be a
Yeah.
mess. So my point is those moments are a lot harder to construct than they look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, even just like I know that you've said this before, like being standing is like one of the hardest things. Like
Yeah.
being still, right? You talk
Yeah.
about stillness a lot. It's like hard. It's like I feel like that's like pure confidence, right? To just stand there and just be like and like
Yeah, I think like nowadays a lot of people are equating it to confidence. For me, I'm not thinking about confidence in those moments. I'm just thinking about artistically representing what is being asked of you as the dancer. So if what's meaning, maybe I'm making that up as the choreographer, like if it's River, which Nicole is in.
yes.
If it's
First
River,
video.
yeah.
We will get into.
We will get into that. I have to give praise where praise is due. So whether it's like I'm choreographing that, I'm still doing that because there's a purpose to it, aside from just saying like, let's be confident that there's something in the music that's calling for it, or just as a piece that it's calling for that. Or if it's being asked of you, in my head as the dancer, I'm not thinking I need to be confident right now. I'm going, this is the material that's being put on me as the artist, and I need to convey this material as beautifully as I can, and that takes the pressure off of you if you're struggling with confidence, or you're like, but everybody's looking at me, or how do I've seen that person do it and they look so confident and I'm not that confident. How do I do this? Is to take the personalization out of it and just think artistically, what's happening in the music right now? How can I be still and portray that feeling without it being a reflection on my sense of confidence?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
I don't
an
know.
amazing perspective to look at. It takes a lot of pressure off of you as a person.
Yeah,
Almost.
and I'm mostly bringing that up because I think nowadays a lot of dancers are overthinking a lot of what they're doing,
Right.
and it's not I don't mean this in a bad way. It's just not that deep sometimes
Yeah.
to have to internalize everything, because then you're finding all of your faults and you're going, but I'm not this and I'm not, and there's all these other hurdles you have to overcome just to
Right.
stand there for
Just
2
to
8
stand
counts.
there,
Just
yeah.
stand there and like and this is
Wow.
where you're getting stuff out instead of
Right.
piling up a bunch of more hurdles.
Unnecessary stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of stillness, I just wanted to take 2 seconds to talk about how I met you. And the first time, you might not even remember this, but you came to NorCal Dance Arts and taught a master class there. I want to say like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe even more. Do you remember that? I was in the Bay Area.
Yes.
You
yes.
do? I took your class. I was like, okay, so I was like a little like shithead. I was like 17, 16 years old, and I thought I knew everything about dance. And I took your class, and it was so simple. And at the time, I was like, I can do this. And I was like, this is easy, right? And then when I moved to LA, I saw that class happen, and I was like, okay, it was a cool class. And I moved to LA, and I really started researching like who you were and everything. And I understood
more of what you were asking for. Like when I was young and like 16, 17, I thought that doing all this extra stuff and like if you're asking for a still moment, I was the one that was like, I'm going to do more. You know what I mean? And that's what I thought was dancing. And then I moved to LA. So now this is going to get into how I met you, like really met you.
Yes.
I messaged you on Facebook because I started Facebook. I started really looking into who you were as a choreographer, and I fell in love with who you were as a teacher, as a person, everything. And I messaged you, and I was like, hey, I just moved to LA, and I would love for you to mentor me, blah, blah. I am a nobody. I am fresh to LA, not even, 20, 21. And Galen responded, and she was like, well, what do you mean by mentor? And you literally I got a studio space, and you came to the studio and worked with me for free, for the F, for an hour and a half, and you just worked with me on dance.
Yeah. That started, I've talked to you many times from the time you've been out here. I remember like sitting somewhere on Magnolia and talking about headshots and stuff. Like I don't remember it being from Facebook. That's crazy.
Yes,
but
it was from Facebook.
I've known Nicole for a very, very long time, and from what I know about you is that you're very practical and driven, and the questions that you would ask me let me know that it was worth having the conversation with you. Like she presented herself very just straightforward, and you're still that way. And I really respect you for that, because I can't think off the top of my head other people that I've had that kind of direct, like, let me chat with you for a second. But it was because of the way, just the kinds of questions you were asking, the things you were bringing up. So yes, we've known each other for a very long time. I don't think anybody would know that.
No,
but
for sure.
Yeah.
This is probably a surprise for anybody watching this right now.
Yeah, I want to vouch for Nicole and say because I genuinely remember that. It's rare to have somebody very clearly say what they want. Yeah. I think that's what it is. You were very clear about what you wanted, so it's easy for anyone that's looking for a mentor. It's hard to mentor someone that's just like, I just want to be a dancer, and you're like, what do you want specifically? And she had very specific things that she wanted to work on or wanted advice on, and it makes it easy as the mentor to do that or just to give advice to somebody.
But let's talk about how more rare it is to find someone that will give them your time for free at that time to a girl that you knew nothing about. Like, that is just shows how good of a person and how giving you are to this craft and the people that are in it. And I don't know if I've actually really ever, I mean, I know I've thanked you before, but like this is like another thank you so much for doing that, because even when we haven't talked as much, I've still looked at you on Instagram, on social media, and just the way you move. And I know Christina feels the same way. Like, you've always just been a mentor, even when you're not directly talking to me. So, yes.
Nicole.
I want to jump into this legal battle that you've been dealing with lately. I'll let you say everything about it. I know that sounded crazy. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Go ahead and tell us what has been happening with your choreography this past year.
So if this is really like a celebration. I recently reached a settlement for something that I've been dealing with for about a year, 9 months to a year. So production company used River in its entirety, which is a routine that went viral of mine that Nicole was in. They used the entire routine in a TV show that's hugely popular. Netflix bought the show. They streamed the show globally. And so I only found out about it because wonderful people like you out there tagged me all over social media, sent DMs, tweeted, emailed, and just let me know that this was used in a show. Yeah. But I think people could tell that it wasn't necessarily done by me.
Right.
So and that had happened several times before, that my work has been used by people without my permission. So by this point, I had kind of gotten used to sussing out when things are really serious or not. And this was very serious because it was done by a huge production company. Yeah. So I hired attorneys. In the past, if I knew the people that did it, I've done outreach directly to people before going that route, because it's always nice to amicably resolve something. Right. Hired attorneys, went after them. I own the copyright to River, so to the choreography, completely separate from the song. Yeah. But I own the copyright to the choreography, so I enforced that copyright, got attorneys. We, for about a year, went back and forth with them and reached a settlement, which means that we did not go to court. So there's no legal precedent that has been made from this. And the difficulty with choreography copyright is there's not a lot of case law around this, and very few choreographers own their copyright to their choreography. Attorneys have very little experience litigating anything like this because of the lack of precedent of choreographers going after this. So we settled because the production company, thankfully, was negotiating in good faith, and we came to a resolution. So it's a huge, huge, huge deal. I've been an activist for many, many, many years in the dance industry, and if anybody, I'm excited for myself, but if this had happened to anybody, I would be ecstatic for them. So the reason it's important is because, number one, a lot of choreographers, so I posted about this publicly on my Instagram to make sure that people knew about it. There's like I said, there's very little precedent of people having done this, and maybe there are people out there who have reached settlements of this type on this scale, but they're not publicly known. So I wanted to make sure that mine was publicly known. Number one, because a lot of choreographers don't even know still if they can copyright their choreography.
Right.
You can if you own it, and that's the big thing, because we can copyright our class videos, but if you choreograph something for an artist for a music video, the artist owns the work. So and then secondly, an attorney was able to articulate that choreography was stolen. And that's a really big hurdle, because it's really difficult for people to articulate clearly why one piece of choreography is the same as another piece of choreography, unless you're a choreographer.
Yeah.
For us, we're like, that is
Yes,
so
completely,
obvious.
right.
For non-dancers, they're like, but that could have just happened on a whim, accidentally. If you're a choreographer, you know that couldn't have happened accidentally. So that's a
Especially
big
for
deal.
you, I feel like you definitely create a character for like everything you choreograph, I feel like, and it's like your character is so well thought out and stuff. It's like for another person, at least like you said, like being a dancer, I feel like you can really tell when someone is taking almost like another character. It's like they're taking your thing that you created, and not even, it goes deeper than just even like the steps. I feel like it's like the vibe of it almost.
Yeah, there's a in a legal case, it doesn't matter what the artistry is behind it. It's just if the thing matches the thing. But it's easier to discern if that movement is really unique. It's a lot easier to go, that was taken from this thing, as opposed to a step touch.
Right.
So yeah. So and just like the last reason that I posted about it is because the example that it's setting is that there's a consequence if you steal people's choreography. And the biggest problem in my eyes is that there's no consequence. It's very rare. As we know, choreography has been stolen a lot over the years. And almost never is there a consequence for the person who stole the choreography. And lately, at least, we do have social media for people to post and say, like, look at this side by side. This is bullshit that this choreography was stolen. But that's not the same as getting an attorney and having actual legal enforcement over it. So if you're the person stealing, imagine somebody posting on social media and you're like, that might make a dent for like a week, but like I'm gonna keep doing this thing, and getting a letter from an attorney. Then you're like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna think twice in the future. So that was a huge it was a huge win for me, but I hope that there are a lot of people out there who I have seen posts on social media that their work has been stolen, and I reach out to them and I tell them I'll help them, and I've given my attorneys information, and nobody really takes that extra step. So if somebody out there has experienced something like that, at least there's some sort of example of it successfully happening where you can enforce your copyright.
Galen Hooks, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations on
Thanks.
that.
Thanks. Seriously, that's a huge step, which actually kind of leads into the next thing I want to talk about is Dancers Alliance. I feel like, a lot of people probably watching this don't even know what Dancers Alliance is or anything about it, but I know that in the dance community out here lately, there's been kind of like a little bit of a push, and people are kind of hopefully waking up about things, but I feel like there's been some big issues lately that rights and stuff have come into. Do you want to talk a little bit about, to our audience, about Dancers Alliance, how you've been a part of it for so long? And
Sure. So Dancers Alliance Dancers Alliance is a volunteer organization that has existed for probably 40 years by now. I think a lot of people think it's a recent thing, but it's been around since the 80s, I believe. And basically is a collective of dancers who come together on their free time. So when you're bashing on Dancers Alliance, they're doing it on their free time to enforce rates and working conditions on non-union work. The union covers things that are like TV, film, and then anything that doesn't fall under the union, Dancers Alliance has like picked up the slack and gone, what rate do we want to say we should get for rehearsal?
Right.
Let's enforce this rate, et cetera, et cetera. So I stepped into Dancers Alliance when I was 18. I don't remember like how long, I can't think of my age right now, but when I was 18, I went to a meeting like a lot of people are doing right now because it's kind of getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
So I went just like everybody is right now to one of the just kind of general town hall meetings, and it like sucked me in.
Yeah.
I was so just energized to try to do something about it. So after the people that I was under transitioned out, I became the chair, and through the course of the years that I was the chair of Dancers Alliance, we unionized music videos. We helped the first tour contract that was under a union contract be negotiated. The whole branding of Dancers Alliance changed. The public image of it. It used to be something that was not cool to go to. When I went when I was 18, it was not cool to go to.
Okay.
At all. And so we just kind of made the events really big, and it was just a really, so I was very heavily involved. And so now, I guess, what is the, so now it's transitioned out of my hands, passed it to the next group. But what is like the general consensus right now?
Of Dancers Alliance?
Yeah.
Well, I know that they had like a pretty successful meeting. When was it, Tina? There was like a meeting for Dancers Alliance.
It was
before Christmas,
yeah,
right?
before
And
Christmas.
I think it kind of started from the DaBaby music video. Did you hear about
Yes,
that? Yes. And I think it's 2020 now. I think things kind of come in fads, and people kind of look at it as fads, and people want to be on board. But I don't know if the connection of like standing up for something and then actually enforcing it is actually what's happening right now. I don't know if people are just getting behind it for a fad, or if people are actually like, no, we're gonna stand for our rights and we're gonna get these things that we should have.
Well, I think there's so many dancers now.
Yeah.
Because of the tool of social media, dance has blown up in our faces, and so because of that, there are just a lot of people just coming out here and becoming dancers, and I think that there's just a lack of information that is going around. And I think for the people that are here, either in LA or New York, or the people that take it seriously, I think that people are getting upset about things. So that's why the community is growing towards Dancers Alliance, I think, which is great. But I think like the thing that professional dancers really want is how can we have this information be spread to to everyone, so we are knowledgeable about our rates, and so we're not being undercut, and we're not getting taken advantage of.
I have one more thing I want to say on top of that before you answer.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing of I feel like there's also a separation of like newer dancers that are just trying to get experience, and they'll take those jobs that are paying less or maybe aren't under the Dancer Alliance umbrella because they need experience and what it's like to be on set. So they're like, yeah, I'll do it, and compared to these OGs that are like, guys, like we can't be doing this. So
yeah, so I was just curious because there's a lot of work that Dancers Alliance does that is unknown. They're not publicly posting all of the successes they have, all the negotiations they go into, all of the hard work that they put into what they're doing. And there's absolutely room for success across the board for all of the needs that both the professional dancers have and the new dancers have and the choreographers have and the assistant choreographers have. And there's all this room for huge steps to be taken, but it's difficult because, like I said, it's a volunteer organization. It's very difficult to get steps made. But the most important thing is that dancers, whether you are working a ton, whether you're watching this and you're like, I think I want to enter the dance industry. I don't even know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
That you know that a lot of the protections you have, almost every protection you have, every cent you get paid is only there because a group of people fought for those protections and those rates. And you have the opportunity to be part of the change, but it does require a lot of work. It can't be a fad, because what happens in any sort of artistic field or any non-unionized field, whether it's restaurant workers, taxi drivers, domestic workers, is that there's the common problem of undercutting, of the next person being ready to take your job if you're not willing to take it for that rate. And the antidote to that historically has been people actually taking action and risking something. And you have to risk something as a community for those steps to be taken. Or you have to support the people who are willing to take those risks, which in this case would be Dancers Alliance. If they're going like, we're ready to sit across from the record labels and do this thing, then you as a community have to support the people that are willing to put their backs on the line.
Right.
But there's, I encourage everybody to at least educate yourselves, know the Dancers Alliance exists, go to the website, look at the rates. You can feel whatever way you want about it, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like them, like, get involved and do something to change it. There's no point in just ranting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of dancers will start when they're 18. They love dancing. They turn 30, whatever, and they're like, I hate this anymore because I don't want to work for $250 anymore for a rehearsal. But do you have the power to do something about it? And change happens so quickly. I can't even tell you how quickly change happens if you just get people together. And it's not my fight. It's not all, like, it's the fight of the people who are doing it, because you know when you're on set as the dancer how much you feel like you should be getting paid right now. You know, it's like it's a different fight now.
Yeah, and we're killing ourselves.
You're killing yourselves, and there's a lot more benefit for the artists and the labels and everything. There's a lot more monetization of things, and the value of the dancer kind of metaphorically has gone way up, right? Like a dancer's value has gone skyrocketed in terms of what they're contributing to these works. So
I think something that is frustrating for me, at least, is I feel like people confuse hype or like clout with the business as well. It's like, I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, I want to do this because it will look good on my resume, or because oh my God, I got to work with this particular artist. And the longer you get out here, the more you don't really care about, it's not that you don't care, but you just, if the rate isn't right, if what you're being treated like isn't right, it's not as big of a deal to turn down an artist or someone that's not doing that, where I feel like that's a hard thing for me is with new dancers, they just like want to bow down to sometimes to people just because of who they are, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a really hard thing, at least that I have seen, kind of being a choreographer in and out, is like, I feel like that's a hard one too, is like, how do you get people to like take the business side first and get rid of all the extra like popularity and stuff like that?
I'll just say my philosophy is to take that decision out of the hands of each individual dancer. And that's the problem right now, is that it is your responsibility and your responsibility on every freaking job to go, what do I do? Do I do that?
Yeah.
When you're on a movie, you just get the scale rate, and you get the scale rate, and you don't have to go, you don't have to have that because it's unionized.
Yes.
So the more that you protect a class of people, you're not relying on every individual person to make that decision. Because, by the way, that's not your job. That shouldn't be your responsibility to have to decide on every single project what you stand for as a human being. You collectively protect a class of people, and then you don't have to worry about new people coming in all the time underneath you. It's like everyone that folds into this industry has the same protections. So that's my philosophy.
Sheesh. Oh my God, you guys, I hope you're really listening to this and taking in all this information, because this is a lot. You are learning a lot here. Okay, real quick, before we get into this fun little game we have planned for you, I want to talk a little bit about social media. I mean, you have been around for so long. You have seen literally social media come in, shake everything up.
Oh my gosh.
But the thing is you are a guru. Now, like, you are a guru when it comes to these social media things.
Am
like,
I?
Yes.
Wait, you mean I'm a guru at social media?
Yes. Like, I was stalking your YouTube yesterday, and I was literally sitting there like, wow, this looks so... I told Christina, I was like, this looks so amazing. It's so planned out.
Okay.
Well, now you do.
Here is my chance to publicly... Now I'm going to, like, just praise. I hated social media when it was first coming out. I was one of those like bitter people that was like, this is not how this is supposed to be. We had lunch with my husband at Soho House. Do you remember this?
Yes.
At Soho House.
Absolutely. That was amazing.
Okay. They are like the reason that I even did anything. I had like 16,000 followers at the time, I think, on Instagram.
Yes.
And I remember you guys being like, you could get to 50,000 or something like that. And I was like, no, no.
We're like,
what are
Galen.
you talking about? Like, it was like unfathomable. And I was trying to figure out like how to navigate like this new thing. I don't think I didn't care like if I reached a goal of a number of followers, but like
Right.
the fact that you guys were like, no, you should do this and you should definitely teach a class. I hadn't taught a class yet. And like it just none of this would have happened if it weren't for you. So thank you for supporting me. And that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so down to help both of you. Not just because of that. You're both I have such a soft spot in my heart for you, as I said before. But I don't think anybody would know that like we sat and talked about it, and it was even after the river class.
Yes.
You were like, because I was like, I've never done that before. I've never filmed a class before. I was like, is this normally how it was? You were like, no, that was like a party. Like that was like a concert. And like, it was so intense, and I just
And you blew everyone's mind when River came
Yeah.
out. Like, you blew, it was on, I mean, people were reposting on their pages. You know how much it takes to have a good piece for a choreographer to mess up their aesthetic and put your piece on their
my
stuff?
gosh.
Like, people were reposting it crazy. Like, you really, really, like, I almost feel like it's not the correct word to say you broke the internet, because it's deeper than that. I feel like it's like you really, like, came out with a completely Galen style in this class environment, and it just was like, whoa. And just the intensity of like the piece itself, I think I even told you this when you were teaching. I was like, did you choreograph the piece after the song, or did someone make the song after the choreography? Because it was just so brilliant.
You workshopped it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you there when we workshopped it?
I think
think
you.
it was
I
in
don't think
Portia.
I was
You
there
were
when
Portia.
Portia.
Yes.
Yes, I was there after.
I mean, I have no idea how, like, I don't know how it happened. I wasn't concocting for that to happen. I wanted to teach for sure and like do a class video so that people could see class, because I realized the value of people that don't have access to LA classes all day, every day, that you learn a lot from being able to see what classes happen. But yeah, you were both like an instrumental part in that initial moment. And I never could have predicted, nor was I like trying to specifically do that. I still don't really know what, especially because I was like, people are going to scroll right past this thing because we stand there for the first 2 minutes. Like, no one's got attention for that. Like,
That's why.
you're gonna scroll right past that. But
was
thank
so
you. So
different.
this is my public, like, huge thank you to both of you for being instrumental on the social media game. So I don't know what the question was about social media, but my point is I would have nothing to say about social media if it weren't for that.
Well, now let's hear what you have to say about social
What's
media.
the
I feel like
question?
the question was
pros and cons.
yeah, like
Oh,
pros
geez.
and cons, like just like you have literally seen, like, you've been a part of it. Like, I feel like you and Brian Friedman are both like the same, where it's like
How funny.
you guys saw it before, and then you guys saw it happen, and then you guys have completely gone into it and enveloped yourself in it and have created so much success off of it. And it's interesting to hear that you were like negative about it at first.
I hated. I can't even describe to you. Like, I'm looking
Yeah.
right down the lens, and I haven't done that much, but like I hated it.
Yeah. Wow.
It felt like, look, when like you're 7 years old and you go your whole life, really, like, I saw the trajectory of dancers to assistant choreographers to associate choreographers to choreographers for so many people that became big choreographers. And the one thing that bothered me was that people were going from not even dancer, they were going from like dance teacher to choreographer.
Right.
And I was like, this doesn't make sense, because I've seen the amount of work that the really prolific choreographers have put into their careers, and this is like really blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And the class environment and everything that everyone that still has a problem with social media, I felt that very deeply to my core. I don't need to go into like my whole journey with my view on social media, but in terms of the pros and cons and how it has changed the industry, everything has changed. I've come to really embrace it, and when I'm teaching in the intensives, I'm really trying to get dancers who have that animosity towards it and go, well, I don't feel like posting, but I want to dance for artist X. How do I dance for artist X without playing the social media game, or do I really have to do that? And it's such an asset if you let it be something creative, if you let it be something that you think, the way I'm always putting it to people is like, you get to show your favorite things as an artist and all of your abilities daily to people. If I wanted to show, if I was a young dancer today and I wanted to get hired by whoever, Paris Goebel, and I'm like, I can tap dance, and I can also sing, and I can also do jazz, and I can also do this. Back in the day, we had to wait for an audition to happen that required those skills, and then go to that audition and hope that she's even paying remotely attention to me. And like in my freestyle part, even though it's a jazz funk routine, throwing all my tricks that I'm like, I can also do this. Now you just post like all of your skill sets, and everyone around the world. You don't even have to live in LA, and there doesn't have to be an audition happening. You get to show what you're great at, and that's such a positive thing if you think about social media in that way of it being your website, your casting tool, but it's also a way to express yourself. Even just wearing outfits that are like, sometimes I feel like I'm a rocker, and sometimes I feel super hood, or sometimes I feel really girly. And in the past, we wouldn't know that you have all those things that you can pull off without your agent sending us 7 different headshots. So it's changed the industry dramatically, and I think there are more pros than cons. I think it's really enticing to just kind of lament about the cons. It's fun to like talk about train wrecks, but there are so many pros, and I love expressing myself through social media. I think it's one thing I think I'll say, just to take the weight off of some people that hate social media, that are dancers, that are aspiring, is that from a casting perspective, we're not as interested in the number of followers, the number of likes, what the engagement is. We're just interested in the content, because we're just trying to hire you. So you could have 12 followers and no likes, but your feed is showing us how amazing and talented and like driven and focused you are, and you're going to get hired over someone that's got tons of followers and engagement, but they're posting things that don't show that they're as talented as you. You do have to be seen by us, so that requires some like diligence in making sure that you're making it on our radar. But it's an invaluable asset that if you want to approach it positively, it's a game changer for you, creatively and work wise. Like there's so much fulfillment you can get from it.
I mean, even me personally, like I worked for Prince for a while, and we had all these things lined up, and as soon as he died, it was like all those things were gone, and that's really where I feel like I started my social media journey. And it's like, without that, like, who knows what I would be doing right now. Like I look from my personal standpoint, like it really is cool. It really connects us around the world with other dancers. And I know you've traveled a lot teaching and stuff as well, which is insane. Like we're literally, you don't even have to book an artist tour anymore. You can book your own tours.
It's my life has completely changed because of social media. The traveling that I used to do on tour for industry gigs is like a very different kind of traveling than traveling on your own terms, on your own schedule. Like the first few times I was like, my flight leaves at this time, and I can leave whenever I feel like it to the airport. I don't have to go to the lobby and wait for everybody and like take the shuttle with everyone and get on the tour bus. It's like, that's a completely different way of traveling.
And you're the artist too.
We are we're very lucky to have figured out how to use social media in a way that supports our exact dreams and visions, and it's completely changed my life. But I do feel very fortunate to have had the pre-social media experience that I had, the same way Brian did. Because it was a very special time. Of course. Very, very special time that we can't revert back to now. Social media is here. But I feel very fortunate to have experienced both.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, so much good conversation right now. So much information. Oh, wow. We're going to take a little break. I know that me and Christina have some questions for you, which we'll get into, but we want to play a fun little game first.
Okay.
All right, so the game we have planned for you today is called Hanky Panky. Don't worry, it doesn't sound as intense as the name is. So what we're going to do is we each have a tissue box, okay? And what we have to do is with one hand, only one hand, you have to pull out as many tissues as you can. Yeah, let's move the candle. Let's start a fire. In 30 seconds, we have a brand new time stopper here thing. What is this called? Not a time. Hourglass. Thank you. And the other one was ratchet, so we had to get a new one. This is 30 seconds, so we can stand up. We can get a little.
Just pull. That's it.
You just have to pull one hand. Pull as many as you can.
You have 30 seconds.
You have 30 seconds. I'll throw mine this way.
Okay. Have you guys done this before?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's our first time here. Okay, ready?
I'll throw mine this
Okay.
way.
I'm gonna do my
I'm
left
just gonna
hand.
make a power here.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's coming. No. Wait. Oh, you gotta hold it. I cheated.
Pull up. Oh yeah, you're so
There we go. Oh,
Okay.
how many? Oh.
Okay, now I'm gonna roll.
Yeah.
Wait.
And then it's gonna pull.
Oh, no.
and then it's gonna pull.
Oh my gosh, no, this is not.
It's almost done.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, we're done. And 5, 4, 3. And we're done. We're done.
Oh! She won. She got all of them.
It's empty.
That's 64. I think.
Oh.
64. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not even gonna count mine.
I don't think I have that. I actually.
We'll recycle
was
these.
great.
Don't worry.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Oh my god. Wait.
These feel about the same. Oh no, yours feels lighter.
Oh, we trying to see who came in second real quick.
Yeah.
I know Christina.
bad.
Christina be real competitive. We're both.
Oh, sorry
Okay,
guys.
wait. I'm gonna. Are you gonna count yours?
No, it's fine.
No. Galen won. That's all that matters. I'm actually really surprised. I thought I had you.
You did for a while.
I was like, so.
Yeah.
But don't worry, guys. We like restuffed them, so we'll be using these again. Don't come for us on there, all right? Okay, so that was a fun little game. But I do have a couple. Me and Christina both have a couple questions for you, real quick. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So February's coming up soon. It's Valentine's Day. Do you have a significant other?
Yes. He's very significant. He's my husband. Yes. His name is Ed, and he's English, and that's probably all he would like you to know about.
Right. I
But
really
you
love Ed.
Yes, you both know Ed. He's a character. If you've ever
Yes.
met him, you
My
will
favorite
not
Brit out
forget.
there.
Yes.
Shout out Ed.
He's wonderful, and he's a huge part of my team, and lots of whatever you think my success is hugely in part to him.
Okay, wait. I have
Aw, he's so nice.
just one more question to add to that. How did you guys meet?
We met working on X Factor.
Oh,
I was the supervising choreographer under Jamie King. It was like the best job ever. I learned so much from that, and he was
Yes.
in the music department doing A&R.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
that's
Shout out
something I
Ed.
never knew. 'Cause
Oh, really?
I wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah, X Factor.
We actually went to a movie on February.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, on
14th.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all of us
like,
and
yeah,
my husband.
like-
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
me and him.
You're like, wait, what?
Like, yeah. I remember
Oh, yeah.
that.
And we saw 50 Shades, and we
50
talked
Shades
so
is
much shit
so-
about it after.
yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
for everyone that loves that movie, but
The sequel was it 50 Shades Darker?
It
What
was
is called?
it was one with the
Yeah.
helicopter. All I
Yeah, the
remember-
helicopter. and
The
piano
key
playing.
part,
Yeah.
what I meant is he was on the
Yes.
news saying that he got in a helicopter accident, and then 2 seconds later he comes busting through the door.
Yes.
Oh my god, it was funny. All right, so I have a question. I'll start with this one. What is the number one thing that stops dancers from booking? And 2 parts: before, like 10 years ago, before pre-social media, and today.
Pre-social media, so they were way bigger auditions, and I feel like the skill level was all very, very high. So it was more about who was right for the job. And I feel like if I'm remembering correctly, certainly with people like Jamie King, the casting was like very specifically to build a world around an artist. So if you weren't the right type for that vision that they were trying to create, you didn't get the job.
Okay.
Whereas nowadays, the point of me saying that is that nowadays I think a lot of it just has to do with skill level. A lot of choreographers are just hiring their go-tos because there isn't someone else that is making themselves worthy of replacing a go-to because they're so good that it's like, oh, that person I've been working with forever isn't as good as this new person. Let me fold them into the field. So, and in both situations, relationships are a huge reason that people don't book as much, because if you have a relationship with somebody, that obviously helps. But that's one of the main differences, I think, from 10 years ago to today is the skill level in auditions.
Do you think that has to do with social media? Is with
In a very roundabout, it has to do with a lack of any foundation, not just meaning like technical foundation, but just a knowledge. I'll put it this way. Social media is causing people to want to learn how to dance at an older age. And so they're learning something that back in the day, you had been doing for your entire life. So you were just
Right.
more of an more of an expert at the craft of just dancing.
Right.
And now there are a lot of people who are just seeing it on social media and going, I want to become a dancer, and so they're showing up with less of that
Got it.
base, and so the skill level is different. And for that reason, I think I would say.
Nice. Okay. Skill
No?
set.
Do you
Work on
disagree?
your
You're like,
skill.
"Nice."
No.
No.
It's interesting. Like, you've been out here for so long. You've been working for so long. It's just really interesting to hear the differences between 10 years ago and now. Because I used to come out here and like take like classes at Millennium. That was like 15 years ago. But like I wasn't in it. I can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
So
there's
it's
there's
just
a
interesting.
the people that are working today are super dope. Like
Yeah.
you just have to be
Yeah.
so dope.
Yeah.
So dope to enter the radar of people that
Right,
are hiring.
right.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many of those people, so they're working all the time. And
Yeah.
you have to be dependable, and you all know that whole
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
speech
of course.
about being dependable.
Yeah.
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 All right, Tina, take it away.
Okay, and then my last question is, so you do so many things. You basically, I think, can do everything. So, like,
I can't twerk.
We can get you.
Don't
doing
ask me
that.
to twerk.
I honestly doubt that, but
Come to a Monday night class one time. You want to talk about breaking the internet?
In the worst way possible. I will
Oh my
become
God.
a meme, and I don't want that. I don't want that for you.
That's hilarious.
well, no, pretty much like you were a dancer, choreographer, creative director. You even sing and you write and you direct. You do everything. So, what is your favorite role and why?
I love the culmination of all those things. I did a couple short films that really culminate all those things all together. One is called Wait For Me. One is called There Once Was a Woman. They're on my YouTube. But those are like the epitome of just creative fulfillment for me when I get to do all of it at once. I think probably because if you're separating them out, you're always kind of like, I'm choreographing this thing, but I wish they were wearing something different. Or like, I
Right.
wish
Yeah.
it was edited
Yeah.
this way. Or you're directing something, but you don't have a say in these other things. And when you have a say in all of it, or for me at least, that's like my favorite, is all of them coming together in
Yeah.
one.
Just
Yeah.
completely control.
You know what it's like?
Control,
Yeah, it's like you
Oh, you can even come down to the camera angles.
everything,
you know?
literally everything.
Yeah.
The coloring, it's
Yeah.
like there are so many steps in the process where something will not be done quite how you want it, and it just ruins everything else. Yeah.
Can we do something this year?
Yeah.
Together? Oh
Yeah.
my god, it doesn't have to be huge, but like maybe like a cute
Yeah.
little Instagram visual or something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Instagram visuals. We are in 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Minute-long visuals.
Yeah.
Cheap, better on the pocket, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my last question here too. All right, because this is the Kiki, I got to ask something like this. Have you ever had drama with another dancer or choreographer? And if you have, what has happened? Look at sipping my tea.
I'm not like usually in the middle of that kind of stuff. The two things that pop into mind are very recent. One of them was that my choreography was used on Dancing with the Stars by a choreographer who's like, I'm like probably one person removed from, and that was not fun and very ugly and like terrible, but also it's not fun to have your work lifted.
Of course not, yeah.
And then the other was like, oh man, I was like, they came for me for Freestyle Roulette. You guys know so I do this event called Freestyle Roulette, and it's like an improv freestyle event.
I heard
and
about
the
this.
hip hop community was
Very upset.
with me. Like
They said that
very
what?
upset.
You were taking
They
the
said I was-
foundation of freestyle and changing it or something?
that I was culturally appropriating and like damaging the integrity of street styles and hip hop. And I had conversations like anytime somebody says things about me and I know that person, I'll reach out to them. So I had conversations with those people that were very discouraging and unfortunate. And in both instances, they were very unfortunate circumstances that I don't like. But those are the kind, like if I'm going to be involved in drama with someone, it's going to be
those are the
like,
types.
I hope that doesn't happen often. But if it does, I just have a conversation with the people, and sometimes it doesn't always end up how you want it to.
Yeah, well, that's the hard thing about doing new things. People sometimes I think have a hard time with, I don't want to say change. There's always going to be certain things that stay the same, but I think I've heard about other things like that happening of people saying things are being culture appropriated and stuff. And
honestly, I'm all for, if it's a good faith argument, and I felt terrible because I was like, I'm not trying to ruin the integrity of the street. Like, if I'm doing that, somebody tell me and like rip this thing out of my hands and be like, don't do that. But if that's not what's truly happening, then I'm not gonna change what I'm doing because of certain things. So I'm not saying like you can't have an opinion or bring up something that genuinely is causing trouble. I'm all for those kinds of discussions.
Right. There were some beautiful people that came to that thing too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Some of the videos
Any
you
of the
post,
footage,
I'm like,
that
wow.
I see, I'm like,
my gosh.
Yeah.
Really
Amazing.
beautifully
But
talented
also,
people.
I feel like those people also have a place. Some of these people have a place, like, because I know that like a lot of battles and stuff is mostly like popping, locking, house, like it's very like technical. Whereas this place was more, I feel like, artistic, more of almost like a character, creative kind of freestyle, rather than just
the dancers
technical.
a prompt, and it's like it's a whole different way of thinking and moving.
Yeah,
you know?
completely.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a cute little tea time moment. Okay, well, before we go, I know that you have intensives that you want to talk about and just give out some information.
Sure. I have intensives called the Galen Hooks Method. I share my approach to dance as an art form and as a business, and help kind of transform people at any place in their dance journey, whether you're an absolute beginner or like a very experienced professional. So I'm starting those this weekend. Is my first one of 2020. Doing them LA, New York, London, Berlin, Atlanta, Chicago, doing other cities later this year. So I'm really, really excited about that. There's very, very, very few spots left, and I'm really excited to meet everybody that has signed up. It's like one of my favorite things in the world, so I can't wait to meet all of you that are coming.
I have a question for the intensives.
Yeah.
What are the newest ones that you've added?
Yeah, so there's brand new ones. There's I'll just say the whole slate in case you don't know. There's GHM Light, which is GHM, which is Galen Hooks Method. GHM Light, which is for beginners. Classic, which is for all levels, and that's the kind of tentpole one that's about artist development. Pro, which is for aspiring professionals, and then we have a new one that's Game Plan this year, which is for people that are like, I want to work and I want to book. Just tell me what I need to do specifically. There's only 15 people in all of these sessions, so I very specifically cater the feedback. So that we do talk about social media, right? It's like maybe you're killing it in class, but your social media is not working for you. All these kinds of things on how to just specifically book for you specifically. And then there's GHM Creative, which this is the first year will be the public one for aspiring choreographers and assistant choreographers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's all of them. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
A handful.
Yeah.
And
It's
they're-
great.
they're
It hits on
cool.
every angle that there is. Yeah.
I've had the pleasure to take and also sit in and watch, and to see the transformation from it's just always insane. I'm always like mind blown by
Thanks,
what
Christina.
happens just with that short amount of time. Yeah, I don't know.
It's I'm very excited. And Christina's been around from the beginning, the very beginning. Yeah.
Wow, this episode has been so intense with information. Like, I really, really hope that, speaking of social media, that you guys really listen to this if you're aspiring to be a dancer and take this information. If you're planning on moving to LA, even if you live out here, there's so much good stuff to get from this. So I hope you enjoyed it. Galen, before we go, I always say our guests can leave the audience with a quick 10-second, whether it's words of affirmation, love, inspiration, whatever you want. Just a last message to leave with our crowd.
Oh man.
Yeah. I know it's stressful too.
You are special, and I hope. Here, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Listen to yourself. Listen to your own view and your heart and what drives you creatively, because probably everybody that's watching this is creative in some way. And there's so much noise that can distract you from what your own point of view is. So keep learning what your point of view is and what you want to say.
Yes. Beautifully said. Guys, thank you so much for watching our 6th episode. Leave comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see more of in the future. Anything you want to say. Galen, thank you so much. I love you.
Thanks. Love
Yes.
you, girls. Yay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.